Hey, what's up everybody? This is Joe from Excel by Joe. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make an Excel dashboard interactive and to go from data just like this into creating a dashboard like this. So a dashboard is great for visualizing data to see the stats visually, which can be very helpful when you're looking at the information. I'm going to go right from the beginning, right from the data part here, right through every step to creating this dashboard to show you how it can be done. I'm doing this in under an hour. So as you can see, this says the Dunder Mifflin sales dashboard. I'm using some fun data. I just created some fictional paper sales data from the TV show The Office, just to kind of make it a little more fun and enjoyable when we're going through this. So if you go down to below the video, there are links to the actual data that you can so you can play along and do this with me, and also a link to my full course on creating dashboards in Excel. So I would check those both out. And if you like this video, if you could like and subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. So we're going to create this dashboard, and we're going to make it interactive by looking over here. See, you can click on the different cells on the left, and it automatically updates all the charts. You get the different sales, you get sales by vendor, sales by state, and everything is going to be updated based on what you choose over here. So let's get right into making this dashboard, and I hope you enjoy it. If you get any questions, just please let me know. Thanks. All right, and now the first step, what we need to do is the data. The data is our spreadsheet of information before we make it look all nice and organized. So here is the data that we're going to use. For this example, I'm going to just make this kind of like a fun example. It's a little easier to learn when you have something fun that's interesting in. So the data I'm using, as I mentioned before, is Dunder Mifflin fictional sales. It's just a paper company sales by salesmen and the product and so on. This is fictional data, and as you can see, I created this data on this create data table, just mainly using some different, like, ran between some different functions to create the information. I'm not going to get into how I did that in this video. I'll make another video on that. But basically, here is your data, and we've got hundreds of lines of information. So let's see, we got 1,500 lines of sales information. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that it's formatted as a table. So this isn't formatted as a table yet. So there's a couple different ways to do it. I'm just going to go up to Insert and Table. When your cursor is on the table, it's going to show you the range. Your table has headers. You press OK, and it just created a table. Table has its advantages over the just another way of just leaving the information how it is, because the table tells Excel where it begins and ends. So as you create new information, you can easily add it to the bottom, and what it's going to do, it's going to update all your pivot tables that we create automatically. Otherwise, we would have to go into each pivot table every time that we add information and change the range of the table that we're looking at. But now this just automatically updates, and then all you'd have to do is go up to data and then refresh all, and all your pivot tables will update automatically. That's really the main benefit, but it's a huge benefit. So now, once we have all our information, what we want to do is we want to kind of look at the data before we start building it. So if we're gonna go up here and just start looking, and what do we have here? We've got a date, we've got a year and a month. So this is just breaking down the date a little bit more. We may need that for other calculations for different pivot charts that we're making. We've got the salesman, so who made the sale, what state did the sale happen, the amount of the sale, what did they sell, what's the product that they sold. If we keep scrolling over, there's the vendor, and was there a coupon or discount applied when making the sale. So there's not a whole lot of pieces, but maybe about 8 to 10 columns. And what you want to do when you're creating your table, first you want to see what do you want to build, and so you want to look at like the dollars, the dollar amounts, and there's only one column of data, which is the sales. So most of these tables that we're going to build are going to be around the sales. You could also do different counts of things, or like percentages. Like you could see what percentage of sales are in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and so on. But what we're going to do is create 6 different charts, pivot tables, and charts, and it's basically to revolve on sales. Like the salesman, how much sales did they have? What state did the sales occur? The product, the vendor, and then just a couple like flows of the sales, like the monthly and the quarterly, so you can kind of see like a line chart of the information going up and down. So now we kind of know what we're going to build. The last step, what we could do is just kind of scroll on this and check all the data and just make sure there's no errors in the data. Like you don't see like any NAs or blanks. And so far it's looking good. And I actually had already checked this, so there shouldn't be any errors. But you're just going to go scroll through to make sure all the data looks good. Since I created this is fine, but if you're getting new data from somewhere else, you want to look through it, because if you have a bunch of NAs coming through, or bad years, maybe there are typos in years, you want to go and correct that before you actually start building your charts. So now we've got all our data. It's formatted as a table, and we're ready to go. So we're ready to start building pivot tables. So let's go to that. All right, now we have our data all set, and our next step is to start building the pivot tables. We want to build pivot tables off this and build the charts off of those so we can make them interactive. So all we have to do is just start building pivot tables. So you go up to Insert, Pivot Chart, and then we'll do Pivot Chart and Pivot Table. So it's going to select the table, and we want a new worksheet. We want a new worksheet for each one. And we're going to just start off by doing salesman for the axis, and then the amount of the sale over here. So we're not going to format these too much now. We're going to wait until we're starting to actually build the table. I just want to get all these pivot tables out there. But with each one, I do want to do a couple things. So we've got the data. I want to right click on it and number format it. Format this as a number, and I want to put commas in there with 0 decimal places. So I want to get that so we can see it just looks better. We could sort if we want, but I'm not going to sort there now. Then all we want to do is just name the pivot table. So you're going to put your cursor on the pivot table, go up to Pivot Table Analyze, and this is salesman. We just need to know this, and I'm going to put it here. So it's just better to keep track, because as you go further and have more pivot tables, you're going to be referencing these, and you want to know what they are. It's better than just saying Pivot Table 1, Pivot Table 2, if it says salesman, vendor, product, and so on. So we got our first pivot table done, and let's just keep knocking them out. So next one, Insert, Pivot Chart, right here. Same thing. Amount of sale here. And this one will be by the product. We're gonna even change the format, the type of the chart later on too. But that's not gonna do that right now. I mean, you can if you wanted to. There's no set perfect way to do this. Whatever you feel most comfortable for. But I just like building the pivot tables, and then once I get them into our dashboard, then I like to kind of see how it flows and see how it looks better. So let's just name this one. Call this one product, and double click on product here. And let's keep going. Insert pivot chart. And let's do vendor now. Vendor and amount of sale. Number format. Name the pivot table vendor. Name the sheet vendor. And so that was a pretty quick one. Next, insert pivot chart. And let's see what else we need here. We want by state. So we'll get by state here. And this one we are going to just change, because when we create the map chart, you can't create the map chart off of a pivot table, so you have to put references in there. So we're going to create the table down below. So we'll call it state, and then the sale. And then we're just clicking equals, and we're just putting a reference to it. And we can just copy it over. And then later on, when we're gonna change this chart to an actual map, we'll easily be able to change it by changing the reference to here. So let's call this map. We'll name the pivot table still. Actually, let's just call it state instead of map. That would make more sense. And we'll go to data. Let's get one on the coupon, or if there was a discount applied. So here we've got the count of coupons. This is how many no. This is how many yeses there were. Actually, let's change this over to put it in the rows. And what we want to do is show values as, let's change this, as a percentage of grand totals. So now instead of the amount, it's going to show it as percentage. So we could see 70.94% or 29.06. And let's change that also. The number formatting, it's a percentage, but let's have 0 decimal places. Just nice and simple, 71 to 29% from discounts. So let's name this pivot table to coupon. Name this coupon. There. And now we're on the data. We're on our final two, and these are just, well, we're going to do the line charts of sales. So obviously we want sales over here in values. And we just want to put the date over in the axis. And see, it comes out to years. If we click the little pluses here, now we're going to come out to quarters. And then we'll have the sales by quarter. And we'll change this chart later to a line chart. Let's be sure to do this. So we got the number in there. Sales by quarter. And let's make our last pivot table and pivot chart. So we're going to insert pivot chart. We'll click OK. And we're going to build this the same way pretty much. We have the date in there. And we're going to double click. And we want to get it down to month. So then now as we click each year, now it's going to do the same thing and expand it right down to month for us. There, so we got our big pivot chart. We got all the months in the years from 2016 to 2019 that we have data for. And we just want to name the chart, and then we are set with our pivot tables. So this is sales by month. And we are good to go. So now we've got all our pivot tables ready, and the next step will be actually building the dashboard, putting them all over there, changing the chart, and getting all the charts all ready to go. So let's move on to that step right now. All right, now that we have our data set, we got our pivot tables built, let's start, we can start putting the dashboard together. So first step is let's create the dashboard sheet. And let's start giving it a color. We'll make the color like this, like the white shirt, sort of. We'll give it a few rows for a title, which we'll do that a little later. And then we can start putting our charts into here. So let's see, start off by the salesman. So we're going to copy this. And we'll put that in here. We're just going to do kind of a rough build right now, and then we'll go back and start changing the stuff up. We're leaving the left side open here because this is where we're going to put our slicers. So what slicers do is they kind of allow you to make this interactive. You can change the salesman, change the year, and so on. So we got the first one in there. Next one, I want to have a sales by quarter. So I'm going to paste that one up here. I'm just going to roughly size it. Next, let's do sales by vendor. Put that over here. Now we'll do the state. And the state one we don't have done yet. So let's do that right now. So we actually don't need this chart. And we'll go build the chart off of this, which would be the map. So you can't build a map off of a pivot table, but you can make the pivot table and then have references pointing to the pivot table. So we have that. We just want to insert a table. We want to make this into a table. Click OK. So now we've got this as a table. We got our cursor on here. We go up to Insert, Maps. And then we've got our map. As you can see, we have the whole map of the United States. And here's the states there. I just double clicked on it and the Format Data Series comes up. You could also right click, go down Format Data Series, and you want to do Map Area. I want to change it just to only regions with data. I mean, if you have more states and you want to see the whole United States, that's cool. But we only have 4 regions, so I'm just making this a little smaller. And I'm actually going to just get rid of this right now because I want to make this chart a little bit, this map a little smaller. Now I'm going to Control C, copy it over to the dashboard, and Control V and paste it in there. So now we've got our map, and let's put one more. Let's put the coupon one in there because this will be a small one. Control C, put on our dashboard. Right now it's kind of big and all these formatting keeps popping up. But let's just close that out. We'll make this smaller later and we'll get this all into about the same shape. But for now, let's continue on. We got 2 more charts to put on here. I want the sales by quarter. Or no, we did sales by quarter. We want sales by month. We got that there. And one more. What do we not do yet? The product. Sales by product. So we're going to copy this, paste it onto our dashboard. There. So now, if you look at it, we've got a rough dashboard. It's definitely not a finished product yet, but that's okay. So now we have like our clay. We got a big chunk of clay, and now is where we kind of sculpt it into the sculpture that we want. So first off, let's get rid of these some of these totals here, and let's go by each chart by chart and determine which ones that we like, which ones we don't want. So here's the total, and this is sales by salesperson. I right click on this and then go to hide all field buttons on chart, and that will remove those buttons up there because we're not going to need them, because you're not going to need to filter right on the chart when we're going to have slicers over on the left, which we will get to in a little bit. So the sales by salesperson, I kind of like this. We can change things to how we want. Like if we want to, all blue is kind of a little bit boring. So if you click on it, you could change the fill. And maybe let's put a gradient on there. So we got a little bit different. And what I want to do, I want to get rid of this. I don't need to see the label of numbers, but let's add data labels to this. So now you can actually see the total amount of sales. Now this is total sales over the 4 years span over here. So now we've got this looking pretty decent. Let's move on to the next, and we can always come back and change it around. So now this is just total sales by quarter. And remember I said I wanted to make this a line chart. So we're going to change the chart type, and let's go up the line. And this one looks pretty good. I mean, they're all pretty similar. We only have one line of data, so it's not that important which one of these that we use. So we'll click OK, and now it changes it to a line. So I'm going to leave these numbers here instead of putting them up above. But what I want to do is I want to make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to stretch this over. And also I'm going to get rid of this total, because obviously that's the total. We don't need to see that. So now we got 4 years of data, and we've got the chart for the sales by quarter. I want to get them all to be about ending at the same spot. So we'll work on that. But for now, that's pretty good. Let's keep moving on. Let's hide the field buttons. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this total. And this looks kind of all pushed together with these words like that. I want to have the names all on the left. So let's change the chart type. And let's make this a bar chart to look something like this. I kind of like that one. We can make them a little thicker if we wanted. So clicked OK. There. So now we've got our vendors. Vance Refrigeration, Poor Richards, just many of the different vendors in the show. And here's the total sales amounts that we have below it. So I think this looks pretty good. We can change the fill. Let's give it maybe a little different color. Let's make this one maybe an orange. How does that look? That looks kind of good. And now we have the map. So I don't think we need to say chart tiles, but let's put sales by state. And that's really all we need to do. We don't need to put the exact number on here, although we could put a label if we wanted to. We would just have to right click and just put add data labels. Let's see how it would look. It would look okay here, but for these smaller states it wouldn't. So let's not do that. Let's delete the data labels. So this is just a simple where you can see the darker the color, the more sales that there are. It's a nice, let's make it a little smaller. And here, let's hide the field button. And let's change this chart type. This is the coupons. And I want to make it look like a donut. So let's go to a pie chart, and I want the donut one. So we click OK. And now see we got no and yes. So we'll put discount. We'll call it discount. And we'll right click on here, and let's add the data labels. So now it's just 29% and 71%. But let's format these labels a little bit. So let's make them white, make them stand out a little bit, and make them a little bigger. And let's bold them. Alright, there, I think that's pretty good. So we got 29%, 71%. Let's make this a little larger so we know what the 29% means. Okay, and what we'll do, we'll just make these a little bit bigger so we can see them. And Y got really big, so let's make them even. So now we can see 29% is yes, there was a discount, 71% there was no discount. And let's now go to our final two. Let's hide this field button here. And this is a chart that is by month, so I want to make that wider. So first off, let's change the chart type. I want to make this a line chart also, just like the one above that we have the quarterly one. We'll click OK. We'll get rid of total. We obviously know that's total. We'll change the name, sales by month. Let's make this a lot wider so you can see the information a little better. And let's move this last one over. So we've got this, hiding that one, and we can leave this how it is with the charts with the lines going up and down. You can still kind of see all of these. And let's get rid of here and make it kind of like the other one where we add the data labels. Actually, that looks a little tight. Maybe if we put a little bit more across. No, let's go back. Let me undo that. And we'll just leave it alone. We'll just call this sales by product. And it looks good for now. Let's change the color of the lines to make it stand out a little bit more. Maybe we could do a texture. Let's try this texture, paper bag. That looks kind of cool. But I mean, you could do whatever you want. But I don't know. I think it looks nice. So I think we pretty much got a good base here for our dashboard. And now we got a good we got it set, ready to go. So what I'm gonna do next, we're gonna make the slicers on here, and then we're gonna do our final steps on prettying it up basically, and making the chart look just kind of stand out even more. So let's get into making the slicers now. Alright, now that we've got our dashboard set up quite a bit, let's create the slicers so we can kind of slice this data up. So to do that, we're going to go to just any one of our old pivot tables. We'll just click on this one, and you can go up to Insert, and then go over to Slicer. And which slicers do we want? We want to add 4 slicers. We want one for the year, for the month, for the salesman, and we'll go for the state. So we'll click OK, and then 4 of them are generated. So I'm just going to highlight all of them, and we're just going to copy. So with Control C, copy them over to the dashboard, Control V, and now let's just set these up. So let's start off with put the salesman at the top, and then we'll put the year, and then the month, and we'll end up with the state at the bottom. So let's get this, let's see here, let's put these in a good spot. We can move these a little bit over. We want to be able to see all of this, and I want to see if I can get it down far enough so we don't have to have the scroll bar over to the right. And we've got, when you click on these, this will clear them, clear the filter. So let's get these all set up in just a rough order, and then we'll go through and just see how they're used. So we got the states here. So next, let's put the year right underneath it. Let's just have a little bit of space over to the left so we can kind of see it. We only have the 4 years, so we can kind of cut it off there. We'll put the month there. And let's finish off with the state. Let's see how much room we got. We don't have a whole lot of room. So I'd like to kind of keep this level with how far our charts are going down. So we'll move the number of months over. And we can probably still get this all the way down to the bottom. Let's see how far this will go if we put this right down to 12. So now we've got all our information here, which is fine. We could just make these charts a little bigger. So let's just take a quick look at how they work before we actually go into finalizing the look of everything. So see how when you click on these, this data isn't moving yet. All we did was click it, set it up to the product one. So see, you can see the product one is moving because we only have that link to the product one from the product page. So what we want to do, we want to go in each one by one, right click on it and go to report connections. And then here we want to see which ones we want to connect it to. In this particular case, we want to connect to every one of them. But that's why we name these. See how we name them: sales quarterly, sales monthly, salesman, and so on. If we didn't, and here's also the sheet too. So we can easily tell which pivot table we will be listing to. If we didn't name these, this would just say like pivot table 1, pivot table 2, and we'd have no idea. It'd kind of be like a trial and error to figure out which goes to which. So now it makes it nice and easy. You right click and we're gonna go one by one, report connections, and we're just checking the box next to each one, because then when we're done, all of these are gonna link to every chart. Let's do the state one. Report connections. And the final one, the salesman. On report connections. There, so we got all 4 of our slicers. We could do everything. So we could clear this filter so it shows everyone. Let's clear all the filters first. So all the filters are you can tell that by this one being highlighted, or by each one, everything's highlighted. And you can see like here's all the sales. They're in the hundreds of thousands because it's 4 years worth of sales. Here's the sales by quarter. Here's the product. And let's say if we want to just have 2 people, Jim and Dwight, you can highlight both of them. Here's their sales for all this year, and all the charts move. See, this is now 30%, 70%. Here's the sales by month for each of them. And what if, say, we just want to look at 2019? We just want the most recent. See how the charts are changing? What if we want 2018 and 2019? We'll click. Everything's changing because they're all linked together. And what if we want to just see the Pennsylvania sales? And we can filter them all out. So now we got just the Pennsylvania sales. And here they are. So that's what the interactive dashboard will do when you have the slicer set up correctly. They'll link it to everyone that we need, and each one gonna update every time we update the slicer. So we got the slicer in place. We got all the dashboard items in place. All we got left to do is just pretty it up and make it look a little bit nicer. Put a title on it, and we're good to go. So that's what we're going to do in the next step. And let's get to it. Okay, so now that we've got our slicers set up, now it's just making the dashboard look a little bit nicer. So first off, we've got our slicers going down here, and I want to make these all pretty equal. So let's get these a little bigger. I definitely want to get this one a little bigger, which is by vendor, which actually I don't even have a title on here. So let's change the title. So this is sales by vendor. Let's make this a little bigger. So this will go down and you can kind of see the lines line up with the name. And one thing, I want to get rid of these axes. And I've got data labels on here. So I'm going to highlight them. I'm going to go to Format and then Format Selections. And let's put them, say, inside the base, or let's put them inside the end. And let's change the shape to maybe a rectangle. There. So now you can kind of see what they are better. So we got the sales by vendor here. We got the sales by salesperson. Let's see. This looks good. We can see if there's anything else we want to change on this. I think that looks fine. The sales by quarter looks that looks good. Sales by state. One thing we could maybe do is add an icon or two. Let's see, sales by product. We've got that looks fine. I don't want to put the amounts on there because this is too tight. And sales by month, we got our chart there. So to do that, we can let's insert a few icons. So which ones kind of look like paper? Well, here we got some charts of let's see, of like charts going up. That could be something interesting. And let's just kind of see what could kind of fit some of our paper sales. Here, technology would be some good ones. So we got some printers here. This looks like a copier. Maybe a computer. That's fine. We'll just insert 4 of them. We'll just put icons on 4 of them. So now, let's get these kind of separate a little bit. And let's format these. Format the graphic. We'll do solid fill, but let's put the transparency. Let's get them a little later. Let's all make them all smaller. There. Now we're just going to copy it over to here. Sales by salesperson. It just kind of spruces it up a little bit. I'll delete that. Sales by quarter. Could put that icon up there. Actually, we'll just put it up here. The copier. Let's put it down by sales by product. It'll probably look good there. And let's do the last one. I'm just doing Control C. Let's put on sales by vendor. We got room here. And we'll delete this one. There, so we got some icons. And now all I want to do is make sure these size good and fit in there. So first, let's start over from the left. Let's highlight all 4 slicers. Okay, we got all 4 slicers. I want to get them all to the same size. So let's click on the slicer up here, width. I'm just going to start doing this till they're all 1.7 inches wide. And I want to align them over to the left. So now they're all aligned together. Let's align these now. We can get these 2 about roughly the same size. I want to get these 3 aligned together. So this one, and this one. Align to the left. so they're all aligned to the left. Now this one, the state. Actually, first let's bring this one down a little bit. Let's make the state a little bigger. We can make the donut chart a little bigger. And now this is looking pretty good here. I want to align this and this one to the left. So we go to shape, align to the left. Now let's just look at the right. Let's make sure these are all, they're all pretty close. Let's get them all to be pretty equal. There. I think we got a pretty good chart here. Actually, let's get these to align to the bottom here. Actually, let's do that. Let's click all three and put align to the bottom. They didn't really move much. It's looking good. Now, one last thing I want to do. Let's highlight them. Or we'll do one by one. And I want to put a border on there, a solid border on each one. So we just clicking on border. If this isn't up there, you just want to format the chart area. Put a solid border. Kind of make them stand out. There. Now let's close it out, and let's look at our dashboard. All we need, oh, we're missing the title here, so let's put a title in there. So let's insert a shape. Want something like that. Let's change the color. How's that? I guess that's fine. Well, it's maybe a little too bright. Yeah, how about that? And now let's just add some text in, and we should be set. Insert text. Let's try that. Let's see what that looks like. There's your text. So let's call it Dunder Mifflin Sales Dashboard. Let's drag it up there. Let's try to get this to move up here a little easier. There we go. I don't know if I like the color. How about this? There we go. That looks good. There we go. Dunder Mifflin Sales Dashboard. We got all our sales charts. We got by the state. And I think it looks pretty good. Let's see if we click just on 2019. Look at the 2019 information. Say just by a couple of salesmen, or if we want to say if we want Jim and Pam. Got all the information there. So that's it for the sales dashboard, and I think it looks pretty good. All right, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something. Thanks a lot for checking it out. But this really just scratches the surface on dashboards. There's so much more that you can get into, so many more different things that you can learn. So if you're interested in learning more, check out the link below. I've got a link to my full dashboard course, which could help you learn every aspect that you need for the dashboards, how to get the information into it, and how to create just professional looking charts and graphs. It can help you in your career, help you even to freelance, or even just help you in your business to visually see the information better. So, and also, if you liked the video, if you could please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you get any questions, just please don't hesitate to let me know. Either send me an email or post it into a comments down below, and I will do my best to get back to you. So again, I hope you enjoyed the course, and have a good day until the next video. Thanks. Bye.